I'd like to thank the Jaipuria School of Business for giving me this opportunity, and actually Utio for identifying that I could be part of this August gathering. It's amazing having heard Shishirji and Saurav. Saurav, you'll see that few of the slides that I have are going to continue where you left off. Or could be, in some cases, a little bit of a precursor, because my talk will go back to 2003 when our first robo was introduced in our shared service organization. So I'm going to share my screen now. A thumbs up would help. Thank you. Okay, so the primary focus of today's conference is on reimagining business and what resultant skill sets will happen in a digital ecosystem. And this digital ecosystem actually assumes all demographics coming in. So whether it's that street vendor who's selling vegetables, to a kirana shop, to an electric vehicle being sold, to what's happening in a back office, which was something that I led, where it's shifting from a front office, back office, middle office to a one office concept. Everything is being woven around, and various demographics are being brought in together. And as Saurav mentioned earlier, there's a whole load of interaction which is happening at literally the speed of light, or even faster than that, digitally. And fulfillment is happening partially in the digital world and partially in the real world, physical world as we see it. An example I will give you is this one-office concept, where the underlying business model itself has started changing. Take insurance for example. Even 5-7 years ago, some agent would turn up to your house if you had to renew your say vehicle policy, and then take your check from you, and actually the policy will get couriered to you. Today, what do? You have the option of going to policybazaar.com and actually pick from 7, 8, 10 different competing companies and decide who's going to insure your vehicle. So you have the freedom to do that. So it's democratized in that way. And then you click, and through a payment gateway that's connected to your bankers, you're done with, and the next minute your policy is there online with you to print out. So just imagine the sales person, insurance agent who turned up to the company where he went to and submitted the check, who cleared the check. So there was a back office over there, to someone else who wrote up and printed out the insurance document, policy document, and couriered it to you. All that has now collapsed into your computer or even your mobile. And the whole front office, back office, whatever we saw is now one office with amazing customer experience, because all this is done and dusted in 10 minutes or probably lesser. Now, this is what is happening in our world today as digital takes over, and the fulfillment through digital is immensely more convenient and faster than what we were used to. So this we call the cyber physical age. So back in 2013, a friend of mine and a colleague, Chandrakant Patel, who heads up HP Labs, and I was at HP at that time, we were talking through how the journey has traversed. And a beautiful slide from Saurav, which talked about the 60s to the 2010s, is very similarly captured over here, where we had the machine age, where there was a lot of physical there, helped by machines, to where we moved to the information age, where the support functions, the accounting and some bits of R&D, all that started getting computerized, to what we see today, which is driven by technology as a cyber physical age, where we see digital actually coming in a huge way. Our first robo, if I recollect, was in 2003 when I put in a robo to process our invoices. And when that robo came in and started processing invoices, and mistakes were happening in those processing, that is when we started realizing how actually reskilling becomes essential. And I will share this example at a later stage for you. So why is the cyber physical age possible now? Why was it not possible, say, 10 years ago? And if you look at why it was not possible, was because mobility was not there at scale, and now it's going at scale. The internet, it's available almost everywhere today. Internet of Things, what Saurabh talked about, the intelligent offices or the smart houses, smart homes and smart offices, and data, which is now coming to you in such large quantities that you need special skills to even handle it. But just imagine how the businesses are changing through mobility. I'm just giving you an example over there. The 3 pictures over there shows you how the original ATM was in a building, and then to make it convenient for customers in many parts of Europe and US, they shifted it to vans, large trucks like this, which would go from location to location. And guess what? Today, thanks to the internet and thanks to data that's available across and the mobile, your wallet is now in your hands and you're making your payments right through this. So the factors that are really driving this are these 3 or 4 things, with internet and content and mobility driving it because it's at scale. So what does this all lead to? This leads to what I call as a multidisciplinary workforce requirement. I'm going to give you 2 examples over here. Look at what the Internet of Things and what the technology has done to Asian Paints. So Asian Paints used to sell paints, does sell paints still. And they would recover at around 6 rupees per square foot of building constructed would be their realization. Today, Asian Paints sells painting as a service. And so when you look at Asian Paints revenues today, a large part of it is now beginning to come from painting as a service. And there the realization is close to around 100 rupees per square foot. So where is 6 rupees to where is 100 rupees? And this was possible because initially they introduced, hey, you can take a look at, log into your computer, get onto our website, put the dimensions of your room, select the colors that you have, and then see how it looks. To now, you know, the advertisement, if you see the advertisement of Asian Paints, they'll tell you, hey, pick the phone, call us, and somebody will come and finish the painting for you. So you're not running around buying paint, you're not running around trying to figure out a painter, all that is available for you. A factory quality manager is the second example that I'll give you. And this was the example I was talking to you earlier. So we pushed through a bot in 2003 and for invoice processing, and the bot started making some mistakes, and these mistakes were being picked up by my quality team. And earlier the quality team would go across to the person who was making a mistake and retrain that person. So they needed that domain knowledge to be sure that they knew exactly what kind of mistake that this person was making, and then land up over there and train that person. All of a sudden, they realized that they had to train a bot. And that meant coding, recoding the bot to make it function correctly. So the domain knowledge was needed to figure out what mistakes the bot was making, but they also needed knowledge of coding to go back and train the bot correctly. Now, of course, there are more and more complexities which have been brought in through artificial intelligence and machine learning, and machines are self-correcting now. You also have a whole load of other technologies that are available. But you can imagine the skill set of a quality manager moving from just domain to domain plus technology. And just imagine how these skills will change across the world, across different businesses, and across different services that are going to come up over here. So domain and technology driving a multidisciplinary workforce is how this whole digital ecosystem is changing this world. So there are few skills that will therefore become essential in the long run. I will just take these 4 or 5 that I've circled out for you and actually focus on 1 or 2 of them. The first one, as I said earlier, is this transdisciplinarity, where you really need to ensure that you cut across your domain expertise and how technology impacts it. So that's the first thing. The second one is, now, how are you going to innovate? Correct. And you have to innovate with a lot of empathy, because, as Saurav said, whatever happens, it's put your customer first. Correct. So the design mindset, which brings in the customer first and works with solutioning as the mindset that you have. The third aspect is the ability to take a lot of data and connect the dots and make sense out of it. So this 3 things, and apart from sense making and adaptive thinking, will become the skills that the future workforce will definitely need to be able to manage a completely different environment that's on this cyber physical age. So what will happen to organizations because of this? The future ready organization will have to have speed to value. And when we talk of speed to value, it's from a customer perspective. So delivery of value, which is at a really high speed, will come in. And what will happen is, as Mr. Jaipuria mentioned earlier, collaboration, radical collaboration in this sense. And when I talk of radical collaboration, I'll give you the example of what Tesla did in 2014, where they just, as they looked at their electric vehicles, and they came up with a very clear strategy, which was a strategy which is an art of exclusion. And that's the first point over there, the clarity of purpose, where Tesla said, hey, I am going to manufacture cars. And guess what? Everything else around it, the ecosystem around it, needs to be built in a way that it can contribute to the economy to participate in our car building. So they just opened up all their designs and everything to and made it open source, available to anyone and everyone in 2014 itself. And so this was something that helped them build the ecosystem of their car. The second aspect that the future ready organization should handle is, again, as I said, coming back to clarity of purpose. What is it that I'm going to do? What is it that I will be focused on as an organization? And therefore, where all do I see competition coming from? Again, here, Mr. Jaipuria said the traditional players and who you think as competitors are not going to be a competitors. So I call this the leading with a wide angle lens. So you see the curveball coming to hit you, you're able to see it because you are wearing a wide angle lens. Just imagine, who would have imagined that Apple could be a competitor to General Motors, and their first electric car is getting released quickly. Another aspect which the future ready organization will have to focus on will be innovation, a normal thing, but Xerox brought in a phenomenal concept back in the early 2000s, where they talked of fail fast to innovate. So they built the organization, their culture, their HR systems and processes to accommodate failure. So just imagine, you typically have targets, correct? And if you don't meet the target, you're not getting your bonus or you're not going to get your salary increase. But at Xerox, the top-notch scientists, they would work on 10 projects and 8 of them could fail. But they still got their bonuses because the concept was keep thinking radically different, fail fast. Surely you will succeed in a few of them. So this was very beautifully documented and done by Xerox. Finally, there would be massive amount of data that's going to be hitting you. So how would you take those decisions based on data? I'm going to end the talk now with an example of, and want you to imagine this scenario, which is playing out now as we talk, but imagine this scenario and you will get to know how the future organization needs to work with data and technology for its products and its services. So you're getting into a car, electric vehicle that's being manufactured by, let's say, Ford. It's a self-driven car, so you're not driving. And this car has Google Android system and Google Maps and navigation systems loaded into it. And then it also has the Alexa from Amazon loaded onto the car. So you get into the car and Alexa tells you, hey, you're going to get into a meeting right now. So get ready for your meeting. And then she also dials you into the meeting and switches on your mic systems and everything which is there in the car. But the car already has the mics and other things integrated into it, and you're chatting. And Saurav's smart home, Saurav's enabled smart home fridge suddenly realizes that, guess what, the milk is running out. So sends a reminder to you stating, hey, on your way back, please get milk. But at this time, the GPS in your mobile has already been read by Google's systems, and the GPS data says that you're traveling by this road, and data is now being processed. And somewhere, some marketing agency who's pulling down all this data is realizing that you're passing by this road. You typically take this road on at once a month, where you stop at this particular shop. And what do you buy? You go buy shampoo over here. So as they are processing this data, they realize, what, he's going to go by this road. He's going to stop in a different shop. He's going to buy milk. So let's do one thing, because his fridge talked to him, correct, and asked him to buy milk. So you're going there, and before you stop, you get an ad which comes up on your car, which says, hey, if you go to your regular shop, you're getting milk over there, and you're going to get your shampoo there at a 30% discount. And so a targeted ad has come to you. And you just ask your car to speak to your car and say, hey, just go back to my usual shop. And you land up there. This is what is going to happen to us. We are living through this, and we are going to see a completely different and future-driven organization. And all of us will have to be nimble enough to continue to unlearn, learn, and relearn. I leave you with this thought in the slide. Change is definitely inevitable, but adaptation and survival are optional. Thank you.